Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq, with daily insight on the Nasdaq-100 index, or the NDX, which is made up of 100 of the largest domestic and international non-financial innovative companies listed right here on the Nasdaq stock market. The NDX has been the barometer for U.S. large cap growth and also one of the best performing indexes over the last decade and a half, not to mention one of the most liquid index ecosystems in the world. Joining me this Monday afternoon is Chris Dearborn, Managing Director of Nasdaq's Market Intelligence Desk, for an update on Nasdaq-100 levels to watch. And Chris, it's great to have you. Welcome back to Trade Talks. And it's a tough week to start out stocks week for the election.
It really is. The markets are trading at the lows of the day right here. It's been really a risk-off day entirely. We've seen a risk-off couple of days in the past. Last week was definitely risk-off, even though Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was really kind of flat. Last Monday was a sell-off day as well. We'll see what continues here. What you're really looking for is a reason to buy this market right now. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty out there, both from the coronavirus, from the macro side of things, absolutely from the political side of items. And it's really kind of a wait and see what we're looking at here. The good news is that you have a lot of corporate earnings coming out this week, which is tremendous, especially you have almost a third of the Nasdaq-100 names coming out, almost 140 of the S&P 500 names. That should give a good parameter or a look back at how all these companies dealt with in Q3 as we head into Q4. And as our colleague Will said, week number 31 of being locked in at home here in New York. So it's really kind of an interesting combination. A lot of the companies can outperform or underperform depending on what their individual quarters look like or their peers look like. But we'll see if the macro picture actually impacts items. If there is a stimulus bill that does get some looks here, if that does happen, look for the markets to take off. But the political posturing is probably saying that they will kind of push that back till after the election.
Yep, it's going to be tough. And while the markets might digest that, at the end of the day, Main Street still needs that stimulus. So if they have to wait till January, February, at the end of the day, it's going to catch up, right? So the markets might digest that as something being good because they know it's going to come at some point. But, tell someone whose rent moratorium comes off January 1st. So it's just the disparity between what's happening on Main Street, what's happening on Wall Street. Perhaps the markets are catching up and rationalizing that as well as we continue to hit record cases. But let's take a look at your first chart here with fresh Nasdaq-100 levels, because as you had mentioned, it's going to be a really busy earnings week. Thursday, October 29th, after the close, you have Apple, Facebook, Amazon, Alphabet. It's going to be pretty busy for Nasdaq-100 names, particularly those names that are such big constituents into the index.
All the heavyweights can push this index around like there's nobody's business, right? You're talking almost 40% of the index between 5 names in concentration, all reporting names, and that could definitely move this index higher or lower depending on how they do. So what we're looking at here, if you look at the first chart, is that we're coming off the September highs, right? September 2nd, we made the high, and what you're looking at here is the stock, the index has been tracking on support lines along the 50-day simple moving average, and that level's held for the most part, give or take a few days below, but it's always rebounded back. And that's acting as a strong level of support. The question is, we broke that today. Will we stay below for the next couple of days and that turns into a resistance level? And that's the concerns here. So the 50-day stands at 11,530. And that's kind of a little bit above where we are right now. We stand at about 11,470. So with that move below, on a closing basis, what we're looking for is 3 consecutive days below that level. If we get that, then we're moving lower. So where's that lower level? Well, if you look at a 76.4 Fibonacci retracement level from the 52-week high of 12,439 to about 11,100, that's the trading range that we're looking at right now. The 11,100 level as a base support, the 50-day moving average as a resistance level. Now, if we close above the 50-day this week, and earnings could be that catalyst that keeps us above, then we'll look to push higher towards kind of a neutral move between the 50-day and the 52-week high, which is kind of where we've been week over week over week since the shut-in happened. We've been finding that support. You penetrate down a little bit, and then you rally back up. The good news is that if you follow the relative strength index, or RSI, the RSI stands now at 46. Now, that's a lower level than what we're used to seeing. The RSI has been bouncing north of 50, if not closer to 60. Remember, 70 is overbought, 30 is oversold. We're in that heading towards that oversold area. Maybe that continuation will be enough. And some of the people will start jumping in saying, this is enough in this index. You got to buy the leaders, the Nasdaq 100 names, the top dogs in the space, And
Chris, we
that'll
got about
bounce
another
back
minute
up.
to go here. So let's talk about those leaders within the space. We have our top winners and losers in the index.
Yep, we don't even have 10 names in the green today, which is really a shame. You know, you have Zoom and REGN up today, but really all the big names are down today, more 2 to 3%, and that's leading us lower. You know, the index is down almost 250 points right now as we speak, and all that's concentrated for the most part in a lot of the consumer names, because that's of concern right now, the front-facing companies, and then the large cap tech is not helping today. There's nobody pulling us up by the bootstraps.
All right, Chris, great to see you. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talk.
Jill.
And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.